Hi everyone. Today we're going to take some notes on division. So if you have your math notebooks, please take those out so that we can take some notes today. Please pause the video so that you can get your math notebooks ready. All right, on your page, I would like you to write down division notes. Next, I want you to go down the side of your notebook and write a capital D, M, S, C, B, R, and a lowercase r. Now we're going to write down some silly words that will help us remember this order. The first word is does. The second word is my. And we have sister, catch, black, river, rats. So you should have written down does, my, sister, catch, black, river, rats. Now this might sound silly to you, but this is going to help us with our steps for division. Now we are going to put the meaning next to each letter. So the D means divide. The M is multiply. The S is subtract. The C stands for check. We will check our work. B means bring down. R means repeat. And the little r means remainder. So take the time to write these in your notebooks and then we'll discuss it a little bit more. All right, I'm going to rewrite these at the top of my paper because I like to order them this way so that it's easier for me to see and to work with. And then underneath, I'm going to label them all. So divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down, repeat means we go all the way back and we start dividing again. And then we just leave the little r as a remainder. Now let's start with a problem. If I have 42 divided by 5, I would go through and use my steps. The first one is D for divide. So the first thing I need to do is divide. And before I take the full 42, I'm just going to take the 4. And I'm going to take 4 and think, can I take 4 and divide it by 5? So that means 4 into 5 groups. And I know that that would not work. So I put a 0 on top because 4 divided by 5 is 0. It doesn't work. That would be step 1. Step 2 is to multiply. I take my 5 and multiply it by the 0. And I know 5 times 0 is 0. I put the 0 below. The next step is to subtract. So I take the 4 and the 0 and subtract them. So 4 minus 0 is 4. The next step is to check. I look at this number and I check to see, is it less than this number? 4 is less than 5, so that means I did a good job. The next step is to bring down. So I'm going to bring down this 2 because we haven't used it yet. So I'm going to bring it down and I'm going to put it right here. So now we're back to 42. Then the next step is to repeat. So I need to go all the way back and divide once again. So now I take 42 divided by 5. And this time I know it's going to work. Now what I like to do is I like to think 5 times what gets me closest to 42. It might not be exactly 42, but closest to 42 without going over. So I know that 5 times 8 equals 40. And I also know that 5 times 9 equals 45. So if I want to be closest to 42 without going over, I would choose 5 times 8 is 40. So I would take the 8 and I would put it on top because 42 divided by 5 is 8. Now I need to multiply. I take 8 times 5, which we already did it right here. So I know that 8 times 5 is 40. Then I need to subtract. So I take 42 minus 40. And I get 2. Now I move on to the next step, which is check. I check, is 2 less than 5? Yes, it is. So now I bring down and I look, there's nothing for me to bring down. So if there's nothing for me to bring down, I can't repeat. So I go to the remainder. So that means that this number right here means remainder. And how I would write that is I would put a little r and then put the number after it. So remainder 2. So that means that 42 divided by 5 is 8 remainder 2. Because if I take 5 times 8, I get 40, and then there's 2 left over. All right, we're going to do one more example. We're going to do the problem 631 divided by 2. So I rewrote my steps at the top, and I need to go in order. So step 1 is divide. So I look at the first number and I divide it by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. So I put the 3 on top. That is step 1. Step 2 is we need to multiply. I take the number on the top and multiply it by the number on the side. And I know that 3 times 2 is 6. Step 3 is subtract. I take 6 minus 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. Then we check. Is 0 less than 2? Yes, so that means we did a good job. Then I move to bring down, and I have 2 numbers here. But when I bring down, I only bring down one of the numbers. I don't bring down both, just one. So I bring down the 3. Now I need to repeat. So I go all the way back and divide. So I take 3 divided by 2. 3 divided by 2 is 1. Now we need to multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract 3 minus 2 is 1. I check, is 1 less than 2? Yes, so we did a good job. Now we need to bring down. We still have one more number left. So I'm going to bring down the extra 1. I like to make my arrows here to make sure that I keep my work neat and orderly so I don't forget anything. Now we need to go back and repeat because we brought something down. So now I need to divide 11 divided by 2. And I know 11 divided by 2 is 5. So I put my 5 on top. Now I need to multiply. 5 times 2 is 10. So I put the number on the bottom. Now we subtract. 11 minus 10 is 1. I check. Is 1 less than 2? Yes. So I bring down and I look. Oh, I don't have any numbers left, so I can't bring anything down. So that means I can't bring it down, so I have to skip over to remainders. So that means that whatever number is here is my remainder. So at the end, I would like write a little R and put that number, which is 1. So my answer would be 315, remainder 1. I know that this can be very tricky, so if you need to re-watch the video, you can, but we are going to continue working on division for the rest of the week. So just keep practicing and know that I am available if you need any help.